Okay, so this is version 3 of a PowerPoint presentation that I put together. I have been going in Chico State, going to different classrooms. They're having this thing that they call the Great Debate, and it's the first semester, fall semester of every year. University 101, one of the classes that they have, puts on this Great Debate. This semester, last time it was legalizing marijuana. This fall, it is 80-32 to suspend or not suspend. So they have asked different people to come in and talk to mostly freshman classrooms, communication classrooms, English classrooms, on each side of Prop 23. So I've been going around, I've been to about 8 classrooms talking yes on 23. And then last Monday, a week ago Monday, Larry Wall and I went to the AS Sustainability Club. And this is the version I actually gave to them, but I'm going to put some other editorials in there. But I just want to say that Larry and I were sacrificed on the altar of global warming. And it was very, they sat there like this the entire time. It was just like, we felt like, Larry looked over at me and said, I don't think we're scoring any points. Did you expect to? So that was really hard. So I just have to tell you that this is a friendly group, that you're going to mostly, agree with what I say, and so this is therapy to me. This is actually going to bring my blood pressure down after that news that Terry Reid gave. So yes on Prop 23. Prop 23 is called the Jobs Initiative, and what it does is it suspends AB 32 until California's unemployment rate, which currently is around 12.4, 12.5%, so it comes down to 5.5% or less for 4 consecutive quarters, and that's approximately, that is a year. Now, when it was signed by Arnold Schwarzenegger in 2006, our unemployment rate was 4.8%. And in the last, people have asked me the questions, is this doable? Well, in the last 10 years, it has been below 5.5% twice in the last 10 years. But what you'll hear the other side say, and I'm going to give you a lot of what the other side says so that if someone says that to you, you kind of know what to say to them. For some reason, they just love that spin, and they will say, it's only happened 3 times in the last 30 years. But 2 of those times were in the last 10 years. And here's another thing you can say to them. 5.5 isn't that great either. So if it's only happened 3 times in the last 30 years, something is wrong. Let's get rid of the people we have in our legislature in California. So, and what yes on 23, and of course, I'm yes on 23, vote yes on 23, tell everyone you know, vote yes on 23. What it will do is temporarily suspend the state's enormously expensive global warming law until our economic activity, it gets better, and that will help our economic activity, and it will bring higher revenues into the state. Now, if you don't know what AB 32 is, it is the Global Warming Solution Act. It was a mandate. It was signed in 2006. It won't be fully implemented, they say, until 2012, but it mandates that California reduce its greenhouse gas emissions to the level of 1990 by the year 2020. Right away, that makes you go, in 1990, were we even measuring carbon dioxide? How do we know at those levels? I don't think anyone knows. So that's kind of scary there. All right, next one. Oh. So you might ask, well, why do you want to suspend AB 32? Well, we probably really would like to repeal it, but we're never going to get that through. So suspending is the next best thing, because it's a really bad law. You've seen those things about, they have these new drugs that come out. They're supposed to fix a problem that you have in your body, but then they have all these side effects. And then they go bad drug, and you're supposed to call this law office. You've seen those commercials. Well, I say this was supposed to fix supposed global warming, and there are all these bad side effects. It's a bad law. So we need to suspend it. But anyway, one of the reasons is that many studies have been done, and they have all come to the same conclusion, that AB 32 implementation will lead to higher energy costs, businesses leaving the state, and job losses. I mean, they all come to the same conclusion. And what the other side will do is they will argue, if you give them a certain study, which I was doing, well, there was this one study at Sac State, and they will refute the study. They will go, oh no, we looked into that, and that just wasn't a good study because of and the variance, and they give you all this stuff stuff, all these statistics. And so I don't even quote I don't tell them what studies. I do have a couple of them on here. I just say they all come to the same conclusion. It doesn't matter. California's Nonpartisan Legislative Analyst Office, the LAO, nonpartisan, they have even said, and I'll read this for you, AB 32 will involve labor force dislocations, including temporary job losses and unemployment for some, and permanent employment and income disruptions for others. That is political speak for job losses. So even the LAO is saying there will be job losses. So some more negative effects of AB 32. There was a study at UC Berkeley that said AB 32 will cost 3 million jobs to California, and a study with T2 and Associates, they're an energy consulting group, that said that AB 32 will cost 1.5 million. I actually had someone at the AS Sustainability Club say, well, there's a big difference between 1.5 and 3 million. I said, what does that matter if it's 100? If it's your job, it makes a difference. Any jobs leaving the state are not good. And by the way, I brought a list with me because I was sure they were going to ask me, and they did. What jobs are leaving California? Tell us, where's your source, you know? Well, this list is smaller than the one that BK was reading, but this was, I think in the last month that they left, and there are 101 companies on this list that left in the last month, and many of them are green technology. So I have this list here, okay? Either of the scenarios, 1.5 or 3, or, you know, if you want to say 500,000, I don't care, none of that is good for California, all right? Hundreds of companies, thousands of jobs have already left California due to, and this is another thing they ask, well, how do you know why they're leaving? Well, they're leaving for many reasons, but it all boils down to overtaxation and overregulation and high energy costs, but that has to do with overtaxation and overregulation. It all comes down to that, and that's what AB 32 is, overregulation. What about green jobs? This is what I always get. And one thing they said at the AA Sustainability Club, they kept talking, and Larry, I have to ask you, this one guy kept talking about 500,000 green jobs. I wanted to ask him, where's your source?
He didn't have one.
He didn't have a source for that, but they kept yelling at us about, where's your source, where's your source? I don't know of 500,000 green jobs that have been created since AB 32. But anyway, let's talk about green jobs. Green jobs are unsustainable because they are subsidized 50 to 60% by taxpayers. So when businesses leave California, unemployment skyrockets. Well, you know, the government doesn't have money. It doesn't produce money itself. It doesn't have its own money. It gets the money from us, from the taxpayers and from the businesses. So businesses leave California, tax revenues go down. Who is going to subsidize those green jobs they keep talking about? Subsidies are also paid for by the Southern California Power Authority. This means that California energy costs will go up 60%. If you notice somewhere, see these little numbers? These are my sources. My last slide has all the sources. And they kept telling me, even with this up here, and I had that up there, they kept saying, where's your source for that? I don't believe that. I don't believe they're going to go up 60%. You better believe they're going to go up 60%. And it wasn't just one source. This is the best source. I saw that in many sources. Californians already have the highest energy costs in the nation, and then they're going to go up 60%. I don't know about you, but I couldn't handle my PG&E bill going up that much. Some more things about green jobs. President Obama uses Spain as the green economy standard, and the University of San Carlos in Spain did a study that found that the green economy has really failed them. Their unemployment is 20%. Sorry, I lost it for a minute. Their unemployment is 20%. We're talking 12.4, 12.5 in California, and that's bad, 20%. As a matter of fact, another thing they said is, what about Germany? You keep talking about Spain, tell us about Germany. All of Europe is going away from green jobs, and they're going towards regular jobs. Because the green economy has failed Europe, not just Spain. They said, why do you always talk about Spain? I said, because it was the University of San Carlos in Spain that did the study, but it's all of Europe. Also, Okay, I just want to say that, you know, I support all jobs, green jobs, blue jobs, red jobs, purple jobs, any job. You know, this whole green job thing is ridiculous. Now, and I don't know what happened to the slide, but somewhere, I think I left it off this one. But I remember it because another thing that came out of the University of San Carlos study is that for every one green job that is created, 2.2 regular jobs are lost. Oh. Oh, okay. It's up there. All right. The green economy is a burden on taxpayers. And every green job costs the taxpayers, and for every green job that is created, 2.2, this study found out that 2.2 regular jobs were lost. So how, even if they created 500,000 green jobs, what's 2.2 times 500,000? That's how many are lost. So, you know, these people aren't thinking logically, I swear. And we want to create wealth here by bringing jobs into California and keeping the jobs that are here. You see all those businesses that are leaving? Let's have them stay here, keep the jobs here, and then maybe eventually someday, you know, we'll have enough money and we can subsidize some of these green jobs that they keep talking about. Now they'll ask me, what about air pollution? Well, this is a trick question, and they kept bringing it up. They bring it up all the time. First of all, CO2 is not a pollutant. When they talk about air pollution, it's something totally different than greenhouse gases. Yet AB 32 only regulates greenhouse gases. It doesn't touch air pollution. Yet you will hear them talk about the dirty polluters, the companies that pollute. Well, excuse me, what is pollution? CO2 is not pollution. It's not a toxin. It's not a pollutant. You breathe it in. I breathe it in. It's a part of our atmosphere. I breathe it out. You breathe it out. The plants breathe it. It's in the oceans. Sorry, it is not a pollutant. It is a greenhouse gas, yes, but it's not a pollutant. California has the strictest air quality standards in the nation, and Prop 23 doesn't even affect the environmental regulations that are already in place for clean air and clean water. So when the people who are no on 23 try to tell you we're for dirty air and dirty water, which is a ridiculous thing to say anyway, the thing is, AB 32 doesn't even touch that, and Prop 23 doesn't touch that, because those are different environmental regulations. Those are already in place, and it doesn't have anything to do with AB 32 or Prop 23. Another thing I learned from my reading is that AB 32 actually might increase the pollution by driving manufacturing to China. You say, well, what? Well, a couple things. First of all, China doesn't have any regulations. They have really bad pollution, and they get their electricity through coal power plants, and they put all that stuff into the air. And guess what carries it all the way over here to the United States? The jet stream. 20%, and some sources said as high as 25% of the pollution in the LA basin is coming from China. And I do have a source for that. I have several sources for that. China also produces 50% of solar and wind manufacturing. Next thing they'll say, well, what about global warming? Well, David, it depends. It depends on, you know, if you think that little old man is actually going to affect anything, or if you even think that global warming truly exists. David Crane, who is the governor, but you know what? Here's something I do want to tell you. If you're going to talk about 23 with someone who's a real global warming nutcase, or whatever you want to call it, and maybe not nutcase, that might not have been the nicest thing to say. Enthusiast, thank you. I just couldn't think of the words. What you say to them, and Dan Loeb taught me this, and it really sort of disarms them. He said, I'm not here to argue global warming with you. You can believe whatever you want. You know, I'm not a scientist. But I do know